But I've encountered a lot of people who are actually suffering from addictions, and those addictions are actually preventing them from achieving the goals that they want because they always end up going back to those addictions. Which brings me to this question, which was asked by one of our viewers once again: how to curb addictions in preparation for a bigger goal. So, what do you have to say about that?
How to curb addictions for a bigger goal? That's a good question. I don't know if I have enough information about that. Like for example, I had from my own experience the addiction that I had, two different addictions. First of all, I was addicted to the gym in my early 20s. I would go to the gym quite often, not in a healthy way. Why? Because it was coming from a place where I was trying to fill up a void. I was running away from my emotions. I was numbing myself from feeling what I needed to feel. I also was addicted to thinking, overthinking. People don't, talk about this enough, but I was obsessed with worrying and thinking about things and going over and over and again in my mind about this. This is a form of addiction. And so the way I dealt with, for example, to do with working out, I didn't understand until something terrible happened, and then I was like, okay, I have to work on my emotions. So the way I dealt with it was directly needing to work on my emotions, and it was a major struggle because I was numb for a reason. I didn't want to feel my emotions, but when I started to feel my emotions, it was I was terrified, but when I went through the process of it, it liberated me. When I surrendered to controlling my emotions, and I started to trust more in my body and life. And believe me, this took me years. This is not like something where I'm like, okay, I can trust life now. No, this is again dealing with trauma in the past and healing that trauma and rewiring my brain to realize what happened to me is not something that is occurring right now to me. That's like a form of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So I just had to rewire my brain where I'm like, I could trust again. And I use gratitude, focusing on the positives in my life, even if it can feel very difficult to find the positives. But when you genuinely choose something where you're like, wow, I'm so grateful. I have food, I have water, I have a home. Really being grateful for that and just saying them multiple times shifted my mind. That's how I dealt with addiction, where I broke out of it, just focusing on the positive, focusing on filling my time up and replacing it with the thing that makes me happy. For example, dancing. So ask yourself, what makes you happy? What brings you joy? And do that. That will help you with your addiction. For me, dancing is so important. That's what allows me to release my emotions and to just, be present in my body. The body is the subconscious mind. When you really move your body, you then can release the tension, the emotional, suppressed emotions that are there.
Beautifully said. Very beautifully said. And it applies. I find like it's gonna apply a lot to a lot of females that are trying to maintain sanity and maintain their beauty, inner beauty, outer beauty, and I feel like it goes down to also another thing, and it'll apply also to men too, who are trying to achieve a higher version of themselves and overcome the addictions that are preventing them from achieving those. I want those people to genuinely ask themselves, first of all, how bad do you want that next level? And then once you realize how much hunger do you actually have for it, and realizing what will be the end goal if you won't achieve that, once you realize what will happen, I want you to genuinely ask yourself, do you have the proper discipline and clarity to get over it, at least gradually? And I'm talking about not necessarily quitting your addiction once and for all, but generally like gradually taking away this addiction or those vices and replacing it with something else that's productive to you, to your powers, to your time usage, and something that gets you closer to your goal at the same time. And next question that I want to ask you is that can you do it alone? Because, mind you, if you, for example, were spending your 20s choosing a lifestyle that maybe wasn't the most productive to you, could be partying, doing drugs, and whatnot, good example. And now in your 30s, you decide to just now quit and get to this next level in terms of health or career and whatnot, it's going to be kind of hard to get over it. Because mind you, it's been 10 years. So overnight, it will not happen where you say, like, okay, I'm clean. I'm not touching a single drop of booze, no sniff, nothing. It's going to be pretty hard. You're generally going to be much better off having an accountability partner that's going to help you put you in check when you're about to succumb to those vices. But at the same time, you're going to have a third person view of somebody who's actually where you want to be and is giving you literally the trail to get to where you want to be. And every time, like I said, you have this vice or addiction coming around, you're going to be put in check, you're going to get over it, and you're going to condition your mind just like that to choose the habits that are productive to your lifestyle.